All right, today we're jumping into something that is honestly a critical skill for just navigating the modern world. How do you find the truth in the sea of data that's thrown at us every single day? We're going to use Alberto Cairo's fantastic book, The Truthful Art, to give us a map.
I mean, this quote from Maureen Dowd just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? We've got all the information in the world in our pockets, but trying to figure out what's real and what's just blather, it feels like it's getting harder, not easier.
And that really is the million-dollar question. When you're constantly bombarded with stats and charts and facts, how do you cut through it all to find what's actually true? To even start answering that, we need a good way to think about how we know things in the first place.
So Alberto Cairo gives us this really beautiful metaphor. Picture this. Everything you know for sure, all your understanding, it's an island. It's solid ground in the middle of a huge, mysterious ocean. And the goal of learning, naturally, is to make that island bigger, to push back the sea. But here's the wild, kind of counterintuitive part. As your island of knowledge gets bigger, what also gets bigger? The shoreline, the border between what you know and what you don't. Carol calls this the shoreline of wonder. So the more you learn, the more you become aware of just how much you don't know. Learning doesn't kill curiosity, it's the ultimate fuel for it. Okay, so we want to expand our island. Simple enough. But it's not exactly a walk in the park, because the biggest obstacles we face aren't out there in the world. They're right inside our own heads. That's right. The biggest challenge isn't some cleverly designed, misleading chart. It's our own brain. Our minds come with some, let's call them default settings, or bugs that make us super vulnerable to getting fooled. And the first step to fixing a bug is knowing it exists. Cairo breaks down this three-step process for how we fool ourselves. First up, patternicity. Our brains are pattern-finding machines on overdrive. We will see a pattern in anything, even random static. Next, the storytelling bug kicks in. We don't just see a pattern, we immediately cook up a simple story to explain it. And then comes the big one, the really stubborn one, confirmation. Once we have that neat little story, our brain goes into overdrive looking for any piece of evidence that proves our story right, while conveniently ignoring or explaining away anything that proves it wrong. So, our brains are basically hardwired to get tricked. Great. That sounds less than ideal. But hold on, it's not a lost cause. We're not helpless here. We just need the right set of tools, kind of like a compass to guide us through the fog. So how do we actually fight back against these bugs? Against our own tendency to see fake patterns, tell simple stories, and confirm our own biases? The answer is to have a really clear, solid checklist for what makes a data visualization trustworthy. And Cairo gives us 5 qualities that act as that compass. Number 1, and this is the foundation for everything, it has to be truthful. It's based on honest, thorough, and complete data. Number 2, it must be functional. It has to be designed in a way that our eyes and brains can actually read it accurately. 3, it has to be beautiful. And that doesn't just mean pretty. It means it's elegant, clear, and actually invites you to look closer. 4, it has to be insightful, meaning it reveals a real pattern, something you wouldn't have noticed otherwise. And finally, the ultimate goal, it must be enlightening. It should actually change your mind for the better. All right, let's take this compass for a spin. Because when you start applying these 5 qualities, you immediately start to see a huge difference between 2 types of charts. Charts that are made to genuinely inform you, and charts that are made simply to persuade you. And this is absolutely crucial. A chart can look super clean, super clear, and be totally functionally deceptive. The key difference isn't always in the numbers themselves, but in the intention of the person who made it. So you've got 2 completely different games being played. On one side, you have candid communication. This is what good science and journalism aim for. You start with all the information, and then you explore it to see what the message is. But on the other side, you've got strategic communication, which you see all the time in marketing or PR. This is the complete opposite. You start with the message you want to send, and then you go looking for data points that support. Okay, let's look at a classic example of this in the wild. This data comes from a chart that was put out by the National Cable and Telecommunications Association. It's supposed to show how much money the industry invested over different periods.
Now, when this was presented as a bar chart, it looked fantastic for the cable industry. Just this nice, steady, upward climb in investment. It looks clear. It seems functional. But let's pull out our compass. Let's ask that all-important question. Is it actually truthful? So where's the sleight of hand? Well, it's all about what the chart doesn't show you. First, just look at the timeline. Wait a second, what happened between 1996 and 1999? The data is just gone. Poof. Second, the time periods they're comparing aren't even the same length. You can't compare a 4-year total to a 5-year total and call it a fair comparison. This is a perfect example of strategic communication. It's designed to tell a positive story, not the whole story.
So where does all of this leave us? Well, the point of this journey, our destination, isn't just about being able to call out a bad chart online. It's about something much bigger, becoming a more empowered, more critical thinker.
And that's the real power here. You don't need to be a data analyst to use these tools. Knowing about our brain's bugs, having that 5-point compass, in an age of rampant misinformation, these are fundamental skills for being a citizen.
Cairo quotes the investigator Charles Lewis here, and it's just such a powerful call to action. It's this idea that helping people separate facts from nonsense. That's a core responsibility for anyone who communicates information. Because ultimately, this isn't just about charts. It's about learning to think more rigorously, to question our own assumptions, and to demand better from the information we let into our lives. A truthful graphic can only come from truthful thinking.
And that's the real goal here, to expand our own island of knowledge, but to build it on solid rock, on information that is truthful, functional, and actually enlightening. So I'll leave you with this. The very next time you see a chart, whether it's on the news or scrolling through your phone, what questions are you going to ask?